Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is Thursday. I'm Peter Martin. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. And in the studio tonight, Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan are here. We're going to try and concentrate on football on the park, but as ever on this show, there are some issues off the park. Yeah, lots to talk about. Of course, Scotland playing Cyprus and Kazakhstan. And when you get an international week, sometimes you get, quiet days where people just grasp stories and then throw them out there and get everybody talking because the eye is off the domestic issues. Well, for me, Ruffy, that is exactly what's happened this morning with a story in the London Times, which is basically a suggestion that there was a £50 million error from HMRC that Rangers would not have had to have paid before they went into liquidation. Of course, there was this cloud hanging over any potential buyer of the club that potentially they would have to fork up for a huge amount of money to HMRC with the EBT situation that was ongoing at the time. There was all sorts of tax implications, and now we have a story which has come out, which for me, the details have been going for the last 5 months. For me, it's a non-story. It's looking over a dead carcass that you can do nothing about. If anything, the only benefactors now we would hope would be creditors who might get more pence in the pound for what was effectively the old Rangers.
Yeah, and I'm sure most of the Rangers supporters would want to leave that in the background and move on to the happy times that they're having just now. Everything that's going well at the club. To dwell back on so many years ago, I don't even think that the supporters knew exactly what was going on at the club, and I don't think a lot of us really know, because there was lots of things going on. This is just one thing that was hanging over Rangers' head. I'm sure there were lots and lots of other things that haven't been taken into consideration.
Yeah, and again, I know this is going to grow arms and legs of misinformation, Tam, but you've even got the ex-Gers chairman John McClellan claiming that the club wouldn't have gone into administration because they might have been more attractive in 2011 with maybe potentially only a £20 million fine coming in for HMRC.
Well, what I would say right away, I think the Rangers fans should just aim their volleys, their verbal volleys at HMRC then. This hasn't really got anything to do with Scottish football. It's got nothing to do with a lot of Rangers. They've not got a lot of friends in Dundee United, of course, and they've pointed the finger at that club for a long time, for example. This has got nothing to do with Dundee United. It's got nothing to do with Scottish football. It's got nothing to do with Celtic. If they want to write protest letters to HMRC, day banners about HMRC, fine, but keep it out of Scottish football, because we had enough of it the last time round. I don't think there was any point in looking back at all. If somebody unearthed paperwork in the vaults of the Civic Centre in Motherwell that said that actually Motherwell, there was no need for Motherwell to get into administration in April 2002, then I wouldn't sit there and think, oh, woe is me, that shouldn't have happened,
Yeah.
You move on. I would have dealt with the stuff that's happening currently. They're saying, I hope we're going to hang on to Stevie Robinson. I hope we can really make inroads and maybe get into Europe next season. And Rangers fans have got plenty to look forward to. They've got a cup final in just a matter of weeks where they've got a chance. They're 90 minutes away to ending Celtic's monopoly of Scottish football on the back of the treble. They've got the Morelos situation. If they get through January, and as everybody at the club seems to be promising, that they don't need to lose Morelos, they've got that to look forward to. Can he bang in the goals for January onwards that could win them the league? They've got the European stuff to look forward to. I just think if I was a Rangers fan now, I would blank that story. There's a lot of football fans out there in Scotland that have never picked up an edition of the Times of London, and I don't see any reason that they should now.
Yeah, I think it's well said, Tam. Nevertheless, Ruffy, you're in a situation here where lots of people will jump on the bandwagon with a tremendous amount of misinformation regarding this story. And it's a story that's been doing the rounds for 4 or 5 months. The details have been there. It's all subjective. For me, the whole story is about how deeply Rangers were in the mire. Unbelievably deeply, or as this evidence would suggest for some, not as deep in the mire as we first thought we were. I think at the end of the day, I think you've summed it up brilliantly, which is quite simply, Rangers were in big financial trouble. And, you know, when we look back at the administration and the liquidation with Craig White and what was going on there with the ticketed situation and, of course, purchasing the club for £1, not paying the national insurance contributions, all of the VAT that was owed, all of these things was a complicated mix that eventually not only frustrated Rangers fans but frustrated HMRC to the point where they were all over Rangers. You know, the EBTs, I think, was one of these situations where they thought, right, we're going to scrutinise them microscopically, and that really didn't help Rangers along the way. Of course, nobody's to blame for this other than Rangers. This, regardless of whether HMRC overshot the mark, this is all about Rangers and what they did over a period of time, that they should have run their business properly.
That's what I'm saying. The only two people it is with now is Rangers and HMRC.
Yeah.
It isn't Celtic that's brought out this story. It isn't Dundee United. It isn't Scottish football as a whole that have chucked this story into the mix. It's HMRC and Rangers. And if they want to continue having discussions about it, fine. But don't bore the rest of us into a coma.
Yeah,
please.
Absolutely. And, you know, that lovely claim by Tam, I'm almost certain will fall on deaf ears. But nevertheless, you can give us your thoughts on it, I'm sure, right across our social media. It's been red hot, not only on Twitter, Facebook, but of course YouTube as well. Everybody has their say. Some people actually need to go back and read the facts of Rangers' demise and the collection of the reasons why they eventually went from administration to liquidation before you jump on the bandwagon of this story, which for me is a non-story. Let's look at John Kennedy, not looking at Hibs, wants to stay at Celtic. We've all had our say on it this week, Ruffy. I think it's a good call from a young man who's still learning.
Yeah, I would like to think he's been offered a lot of advice from a lot of people at Celtic. I know they really like what he's doing there. They might see him as something higher up with Celtic as the years go on. They don't want to lose him. So yeah, I think it's a good move for him. I think if he was to do anything to get back to be, I thought he would want to be a Celtic manager at some time. I think they have to go away and really experience what it's like to be the manager of a club.
I don't know about you, Tam, but I mean, no disrespect to John Kennedy, but Hibs need somebody to make sure they're not in a relegation battle.
No, absolutely. I don't think it was a time for a rookie boss.
Yeah.
Another thing that's baffling me, help me out with this if you can, Peter. Am I right in saying it wasn't that long ago that Celtic fans were having a right all go at John Kennedy?
Yeah.
Would I be right? Maybe when he was even there at the Ronnie Dyla era and the defence wasn't up to scratch, and because I'm being a defender and a pretty decent defender in his day, he seemed to be getting a hell of a lot of flack now.
Yeah.
I think even for him to get a sniff at a job like Hibs, I think he's got a lot to thank Neil Lennon for, because Neil has been really good at name checking him and the rest of his backroom staff in the back of a big result. He did it even the other night after the victory against Lazio. But yeah, absolutely no harm to John Kennedy. But I think even from his point of view, he's made the correct decision.
Yeah.
At his age, with the expertise that he's got, with the experience that he's got, for him to still kind of be behind the scenes, with head below the parapet now, rather than right in there to Hibs, because you're right, the Hibs are not in a comfortable position now in that league, and it strikes me as not the job for a rookie manager, and that's why I understand the thing about you shouldn't go back, or somebody shouldn't return to a club, etc. And call me, and this is very old-fashioned, but in terms of a team now that needs a good boot up the arse, it is Hibs. And maybe John Yogi Hughes might not have been the worst booking in the world for somebody to do that, but alas, he wasn't even in the shortlist.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I liked John's style of football, but sometimes more than anything, I mean, if you just look at the odds, sometimes more than anything, it's just about someone who happens to be trendy at the time. I mean, Jack Ross is 8-1 on, John Kennedy's 8-1, Harry Kewell 12-1, Nathan Jones 16-1, and Raul Canida 16-1, and Neil Warnock quoted at 20-1. Now, Neil Warnock, on the flip side of John Kennedy's inexperience, he has a wealth of experience, and he's been linked with both Hibs and Hearts. I mean, I don't know you, Ruffy, but Tam's talking about, you know, you need somebody in there who understands the job. I don't think it's a Neil Warnock.
It doesn't matter who you pick, Peter. You can pick the bones in most managerial CVs. You know, you'll pick good points, you'll pick bad points. For me, Neil Warnock just been at far too many clubs in the last maybe 5 or 6 years. You know, I would have thought if he was anything worth his salt, he would have been at a club, you know, for a long, long time. But he seems to move on. People see him as a saviour.
Oh, I think he's a good manager, Ruffy. Yeah, I mean, he did a good job at Cardiff. Yeah, but eventually they all lose their jobs.
But that's what I'm saying. You could point a year when he had a good season and then point another season when that's what all the credentials that these people are going to have. That's why I'm saying, for me, Jack Ross, okay, it was a blimp at Sunderland, but everything else, he's still got his whole career ahead of him. He's still, you know, thought very highly of a lot of people. I just think that's the kind of guy they should go for.
It's results. If you brought in any one of those managers quoted there and they won their first 3 or 4 games, then that's it. The CV is forgotten about. Anything that they did or didn't do at another club is completely forgotten about. You know, I would like to see Neil Warnock getting one of the gigs, Hearts or Hibs, simply because with that nose and those legendary choppers, it would be shooty in for wee Johnny Watson on only an excuse. And I would relish seeing that. He didn't need to impersonate him up to now when he's been at Cardiff and whatever. But no, that would be great. Hug Manet viewing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at all the names that have been quoted for the Hearts job as well, and it's such a big call on the voting for the Hearts job. Austin McPhee 6-4. Steve Cotterill is 11-4. He came out of the woodwork this morning. Neil Warnock 4-1. John Robertson 5-1. Stephen Robinson 8-1, and Felix Magath 16-1. Now, forgive me, and please forgive me for this, Tam, but if you spend something like 300 grand on the boy Deutsch, who plays up front for Hibs, he got a hat-trick last week, I know, but you could easily get 150 grand to Motherwell. Go and get Stephen Robinson, who knows the division, who's got an eye for a player, and he plays a good style of football. For me, it's a shoe-in. Give them 150 grand, get him out, give him his contract, and on you go for 3 years.
Absolutely. I'm astonished, but joyously astonished by the fact that Stevie Robinson, as I speak, is still the Motherwell manager. I cannot believe it. I did think he'd been away by now, Peter, and I thought the international break would have made it even simpler. And but I reckon now, certainly if I had to put a wedge on it, I can see him getting a Northern Ireland job. In my dream of dreams, this is the sort of thing you never hear happening. I'm sure there must be examples of it in the past, but I would have liked to have thought he could maybe do Northern Ireland and Motherwell. But I know there's a lot of kind of football purists in this day and age who say, oh, no way, you know. Yeah. And I know myself had my hands up that the minute we get a couple of bad results under Stevie Robinson, there'd be the fans in the main stand shouting down, you've not got your eye on the ball, you got way back to Ireland, it's only them you're thinking about, blah, blah, blah. So that would cause its own problems. But I think a nice clean break, going with the fans' praises ringing in his ears, off to the Northern Ireland job. I think that would be a decent situation for a Motherwell fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm astonished Tam is wondering whether a manager could have 2 jobs, Ruffy. I don't know if that's happened of late, you know, where a manager's got 2 jobs anyway, you know.
Who are we thinking of here? Who am I missing?
Craig Levine.
Oh, Craig, sorry. All right, aye, of course.
You know, it's not unusual to coin the phrase of the old song. Anyway, apart from anything else, we're still waiting. Doesn't seem to be any rush between Hearts and Hibs. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think they should be getting their skates on in this department? Is it a Stephen Robinson that floats your boat, or some of the names that have been linked with the job? Are they good enough to get Hearts and Hibs climbing up that table, finishing higher than they are at the moment? Okay, we're going to talk.
The other thing I would say, incidentally, Peter, is drag it out by all means, because where Hearts and Hibs are in the league, you know, if somebody went in there and get the proverbial finger out, then you need to think that Hearts and Hibs are the teams that would be looking for a European spot. And quite frankly, that's where I want Motherwell to be at the end of the season. So yeah, drag it out. Bring in duds. Bring it on. We all need to look after ourselves.
And there's your headline.
I've been far too fair here. You know,
there's your headline. Cowan says, bring in your duds. Helps Motherwell.
A year in the Championship will no do them any harm.
Absolutely. Anyway, from Hearts and Hibs, we're going to talk Scotland after the competition.
You can win this Celtic away top signed by one of the UK's top comedians, Kevin Bridges. All you have to do is like, share, follow or subscribe to one of our PLZ Soccer social media channels.
Yeah, good luck to Celtic fans who will be getting involved in that competition. If you're a fan of Kevin Bridges, it's something a little unique. Next week, I can tell you, if you're a Rangers fan, well, it's your turn to enter the competition. You could win your former captain Barry Ferguson's signed Rangers shirt, so that's something to look forward to. OK, Oliver Burke on the international scene said he'd be disappointed if players had pulled out to suit their clubs. Ruffy, it rumbles on, but he doth protest too hard, like so many others I'm listening to at the moment.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I don't have a player withdrawn if he has an existing injury that is going to obviously hamper him at his club level, but some of the reasons for not wanting to play for your country, it just beggars belief. You know, I don't understand why people at 30, 31 think their international career's over and they want to concentrate in club football.
Yeah.
It's just a passion for your country for me. And it's just the way of the world now. You know, I think money is a big say in this. A lot of them feel as if, you know, that if they can maybe cram in another 3 or 4 years at their club, they'll make X amount of pounds. But for me, playing international football is, on average, 7 extra games a year. 7 times, that's all you've been asked to in a year to come and represent your country. And I can't understand some of them for not wanting to do that.
Yeah, and Oliver Burke himself says he feels as if he'd be let down if he thought some players were prioritising their club football.
I think it's very disappointing if a player is to pull out of a squad with maybe not being injured and maybe prioritising club level, but I wouldn't see it as that. I'd probably see it as there is games before we come away, and sometimes you do pick up knocks in your last game, and that's what happens, and sometimes it stops you from coming away. But it's unfortunate.
I think we're in a different generation, Tam. I think nowadays some players are just looking and saying, shut up. The times they are a-changing.
They are a-changing, and not for the better, it would seem. But I would just like Stevie Clarke. He seems quite a tough cookie. I read a cracking piece this morning in the Daily Record by my old pal David McCarthy, and he was basically urging Stevie Clarke to invoke the 5-day rule and say to hang, he's got his job to do. You know, we want our players released. We're not listening to any, in some cases, nonsense from the clubs. He's got a job to do. It's far too easy to say, these games that we've got to know are just friendlies. Yeah. Stevie Clarke's got to get an inkling of what his team's going to be for going into the playoff, which is in March. It's we're only talking 4 months away now. Yeah. It's quite incredible. So I think he's got to do that. And to repeat myself, last week we were talking about Stevie Clarke saying that he wanted the SPFL card, the top flight fixtures, to be cancelled the weekend before the semi-final playoff. Lo and behold, we've not heard a dicky bird about it since. Yeah. So the powers that be, they've got to come out and say, yep, you're absolutely right, Stevie, don't worry. That is a no-brainer. Those fixtures are canned. I'd like that to happen, and I would like him to play hardball with these clubs and invoke that 5-day rule.
Yeah, of course, because as Oliver Burke mentioned there, the next couple of games are crucial.
Obviously, things have been tough, but I think we all have to realise how proud you should be to represent your country, and I think, it can be difficult when the momentum is low and stuff, but I think we have to play every game like it's our last.
Just a quick point before we go, guys. Ruffy, Scott McKenna, the old transfer won't go away. January again, Dons could be under pressure. Are they going to get the money they're looking for? This is a statement that came out from McKenna himself on a possible Aberdeen exit. I need to keep my head down and see what happens come January. It's a big 6 months, and the closer you get to the window, all you hear is people saying you need to play well the next 5 or 6 games. Your future could depend on it. It's a very hard decision. Aberdeen gave me my chance and have been absolutely brilliant with me, but I had been building up for that for a year in the hope of a move, and it just didn't seem to be happening in the way I thought. The summer was probably the worst for me. There was maybe a bit of expectancy for it to happen. When you've been working for the full year, building up to that point, you thought it was going to be the time. There's a wee bit of disappointment. Woof, if I was an Aberdeen fan, that would go down like a lead balloon, Ruffy.
Yeah, it's a case of he doesn't want to be there. You know, he thinks he's better than Aberdeen. He wants to try elsewhere. It remains to be seen what kind of money comes in for him. But obviously Derek McInnes says, I've had a meeting with that last bid to say, look, this is a situation at this moment in time. We don't think the money's right. You're not going anywhere. But they have to have some kind of liaison with each other to say, look, when January comes and another bid comes in, we'll seriously look at it. So they're going to have the same scenario of a lot of players who have been promised something, and if it doesn't happen, then they've got a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. OK, that's just about it from us. Don't forget you can cover us all across the social media. Give us your thoughts on Twitter, on Facebook, and Facebook Live Monday to Friday. We are here for you, and of course also on our YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's great to have Tam with us on the Thursday. We had a wee night out last night. Didn't think both of us were going to make it. We have. Ruffy, of course, looking really refreshed because he wasn't out. The first time he's knocked back a night out with the guys. I'm gobsmacked by it. Anyway, from Ruffy, from Tam, from myself, Peter Martin, thank you for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.